riches and a deeper knowing of my soul.
Hello, is anybody out there?
Thank you. This is the Culture Clash. That's Andrew, which our longtime listeners now are
Firmly aware of.
our 1 month listeners are well aware. We're actually going on a couple minutes early tonight, hoping that we can get some technical issues. There were some technical problems today, and we're hoping the technical issues are worked out now. So, welcome, one and all, and welcome to myself, because Andrew didn't welcome me back yet on air.
Welcome back, Mike.
Where was I, Andrew?
America. In the South.
In the Deep South.
Exactly.
In the deepest of the Deep South. For those listeners who already know that I was in America, this may not be of any kind of news, but for those who don't know, it is news. I was in America recently. The last two weekends I was in the U.S.
And what brought you to America?
I was pining for pine trees, ones in Georgia. But I had to go to a wedding, and I needed to introduce my Turkish fiancé to my families. And that went pretty well.
Okay. No major mishaps.
No mishaps, Normally I go back for like 2.5 weeks, and, it's just there's so many people, and there's 2 different regions. I have to go to Florida and Georgia. So even 2.5 weeks is really pushing it. No one feels very satisfied. Maybe they're just not satisfied with me, and maybe it's not the length of time that I'm staying there. But this time, with it only being like 8 days, it was, I wasn't satisfied. The people I got to see once.
Just remember, Michael, time does matter. Anyways, continue.
Yeah. In the podcast, I'll probably have to, you catch me off guard a lot of times. And I like to have a dramatic pause in person, but on the radio, that dramatic pause is about 2 seconds too long.
Well, you got to be quicker on the ball. How do you?
Well, it's actually intentional. I do the dramatic pause to kind of highlight the idiocy of something you've just said. But like I said, on the radio, I just got to I got to cut it in half. I always got to think, that instead of saying one Mississippi, I just got to say one and then move on.
Well, that leads me to a really awesome idea I have had. I was thinking we should have a proactive interaction with our audience. So I was thinking Culture Clash drinking game. As you may know, I may make some odd grammatical error or mispronunciation. Why do I do this? Because I'm on the radio and I know it annoys you. Anyways, I was thinking every time there's a grammatical misusage, you drink. Every time there's some kind of douchebaggery from the other microphone, you drink. Every time there's something slightly amusing with the combination of the two, you raise your glass, say, Sheriff Tayyip, and you drink. What do you think?
Are you talking to me or are you talking to the listeners? Who do you envision to be drinking?
The listeners, except if you're in a car, that's just not right. Anyways.
Well, you mean if they're driving the car.
Yeah.
I assume if you're a passenger, it's
still not right.
So I don't know. I will crowdsource that. Listeners, podcast listeners, live listeners. That's the suggestion. That's the idea. Vote on it. Go to the Facebook group. That's Culture Clash Radio at Facebook. If you haven't already liked it, go ahead and like it. If you don't like it, like it anyway. And weigh in on Andrew's suggestion. Anyway, so I was in the U.S. and I got to go to this wedding, and it was my sister. I've got a lot of sisters, and
how many sisters do you have?
I've got 4 sisters. Only one that I grew up with. The others are more recent additions to my life. But I love them still, and I don't get to see. I don't get to see them very much. I don't get to see any of them very much. But this sister had a wedding, the wedding to end all weddings. I don't think I'll ever go to a bigger wedding. So,
have you ever been to a Turkish wedding?
I have not been to a Turkish wedding. No one invites me.
Ah.
How many have you been to?
I've been to about 3, but they generally average in between 150 to 250 people, sometimes more. That's considered small here.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Yeah, the one in the U.S., my sister's wedding, my sister Caitlin's wedding, was about 200 people, I'd guesstimate. Maybe a little more.
That's rather small for Turkish standards, but in America, it's huge.
That's what it seemed like. Listeners may know that I'm engaged to marry my beautiful fiancé, Melek, and we're looking for places to hold our reception. And it's really tough because we're only looking for about 60, 70 people, and we can't find a venue that's willing really to open up. I mean, to that smaller number at a reasonable price. I mean, they'll charge us for 200.
Yeah.
But even then, they're not happy because they're not going to have some ancillary sales of alcohol on these things. With smaller
Exactly.
people.
They don't make the additional cash with photography, alcohol, food.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the photography is probably the same price, no matter what the size.
No, the thing is, they get a couple contract photographers, but the photographers do this because they take individual pictures of people, and then they sell that individual to the bride and groom setup. So it's actually two operations in one, and they make most of their money off the guests and from the actual album.
Okay. Well, I didn't know that. It's good to know. I have to line up a photographer eventually.
One thing you'll find, a lot of the venues will not let you bring your own photographer. They have people working specifically for them.
I'm just thinking if Madeline is listening right now. I don't know if she's so punctual that she caught the beginning of the show. But Madeline is one of our most loyal listeners. She's from Canada. I think that's why, she knows that her compatriot or Patty is on the air, and she just got to listen, and she loves your pronunciation. It's one of the things that I think that really hooked her. That and the way you talk about women, but the fact that you just say photography with that incredible emphasis on the first syllable.
What's wrong with photography?
No, you didn't say photography. You said, they don't normally let you have your own photographer.
Stress and emphasis, my friend. Stress and emphasis. It makes listening to the radio more fun.
It does. I hope. I hope so, because otherwise we're screwing over.
My grammatical inconsistencies has hooked us some devoted listeners, as you have just said.
Well, I don't know that it's inconsistencies. I mean, it's inconsistently wrong. I mean, no. What am I now? I'm making a fool of myself. It's consistently wrong. It's not inconsistent. It's consistently wrong. But
completely intentional. Also, I'm from New Brunswick, so you can't hold it against me.
Well, we'll try not to.
Anyways,
but anyway, I mean, like I told Andrew before the show. I mean, there's no question Andrew's going to be the star of this show. If anyone gets famous, it's going to be Andrew, because I'm rather monotone. I mean, I have a silky smooth voice, but and Andrew distracted me while I'm on air with Sasha saying hi. Sasha is a colleague, former colleague of me. I don't know. I guess she's still your colleague. Is she?
Yeah.
And she's a local artist in Istanbul. If you're a local artist in Istanbul and you'd like to maybe get a little airtime, we're always open to listening to demos.
Please submit us some of your online podcasts, and we will play it and then get you in for an interview.
No, we're not going to play any podcasts.
No?
Send Andrew.
Demo, Yanni.
Send Andrew a CD. I mean, I still work by CD because the quality is so good. Even if it's MP3, it's better on a CD. So send that demo to Andrew on Facebook. If you're listening to the show, you're probably already friends with Andrew on Facebook. Not with me, because I've been trying to get rid of my friends on Facebook. I'm trying to cut that down to 100 people.
You're pretty antisocial there, Mike.
Yeah, I try not to fall into the Facebook gap, because we might lose it. Listeners in Turkey are already aware, but listeners outside of Turkey may not be aware that right before I left the country, so just before the first of our 2 missed shows, YouTube was banned in the country, and it's not been brought back yet, and it probably won't be brought back.
No, it won't be brought back. Same with Twitter as well.
No, Twitter got back.
Twitter is not coming back.
Twitter's been back for a while, dude. Twitter came back after the election.
I just don't care enough about Twitter to check it then.
You were all about Twitter before I left. You were all about, because you couldn't have Twitter, you had to have Twitter. And now that it's back, you pretend like you don't know that it's back, because now you don't care.
Not really.
Well, speaking of YouTube bans and Twitter bans, there was an election recently, and I was gone for it, as well as my fiance. And voting is compulsory here in Turkey. That's a foreign concept to Americans. In Canada, is it compulsory?
Yes. Well, no, it's not. People
okay,
should vote.
I'm sorry to have asked you such a difficult question.
I was distracted.
What are you doing instead of paying attention to our listeners and to the presentation we're making?
Well, selfie, because I look pretty good today.
Andrew shaved. I didn't notice him. He didn't have his lumberjack beard.
The beard is gone.
For how long? How long does it take you to grow that back? I mean, for people who haven't met Andrew, the fortunate ones, his beard is like incredibly thick. I don't know. You could probably just rest paperweights on his hair without pressing them down. It's just that thick.
Well, that was about 3 months worth of work that I just shaved off there. So
Is that what you consider work?
yeah,
Yeah.
why not?
Andrew's a busy man. He's a man of many talents and skills. He does photography. He does some drawings. What else do you do, Andrew? What else do you do to stay busy? We'll get to what you do in the evenings to stay busy a little later. That's going to be the end of the show, last half of the show. We'll get to more from Andrew's dating adventures. He's got some stories that I hope are not out of date because they were 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, same, but we'll see how it goes. I'm sure I can think of something.
These two girls that I'm thinking of, are they still in play? I mean,
No.
It was 3 weeks ago.
No, they're gone.
Okay. All right. Well, no surprise. But anyway, we'll get to that in a little bit. So what I wanted to talk about, that we kind of opened up for a little bit, I wanted to talk about this wedding. My sister Caitlin had this Hollywood wedding. I've never seen anything like it in person. I mean, I've never even really seen anything like it on film because I hate movies that have weddings like this. But her wedding was very beautifully done. It was at this English mansion built in the middle of nowhere, Georgia. Well, it doesn't really narrow it down because half
You
of
mean
Georgia
like
is
a
nowhere.
plantation?
No, but that's actually not a bad guess. No, this was it's a more modern building. Like it's maybe 15 years old, 11 years old. It cost $15 million or something to build it. This architect, it was just his dream project. He had a lot of money, built the house, and then found after he built the house, he didn't have a lot of money, and they got sold after the crisis for like $1.25 million, which I mean is a steal. But it's in the middle of nowhere, so no one wants to live there. So anyway, some people bought it in order just to have weddings there, and my sister chose to have her wedding there. And they got the old-timey cars. They got these big, I don't know how many rooms. I mean, they've got these. I'll have to show you pictures. I didn't get a lot of pictures of the indoor area, but I mean, when I say it's like a castle, it was designed to emulate English castles.
So is it like a hotel wedding hall retreats kind of
Well, they
setup?
stayed there. I think the bride and groom can stay there. I think there's a couple rooms in like the upper floors, but
Okay.
it's not like a functioning hotel. It really is just for events. This was the first wedding that they had done there.
Sounds like it'd be a pretty dry wedding unless they have like a couple.
No. There were, I don't know, 100 bottles of wine and champagne. And when the party died, because like there were, it wasn't like a Catholic wedding.
Okay.
For those who don't know, a Catholic wedding is basically like a mass. It's 3 hours. I mean, and you sit through them talking about God forever
Was
before
it
they
like-
get to the I do's and stuff.
Was it like My Big Fat Greek Wedding?
I didn't see it. Like I said, I don't watch movies that have weddings in it.
Okay.
Funerals, but not weddings. I'm just,
That antisocial.
I mean,
okay.
4 weddings and a funeral, I only saw a fifth of it. So, I mean, it's a math joke.
Okay, I don't get it.
That's even funnier. That's much funnier than what I said. But anyway, so it was really big, and
Ha-ha. Okay.
you got it now?
Yes.
Oh, that's good. And I like the fact that you took a moment to let everybody else know that you just got that. So the bride and groom finished up and left at like 11:30 or something. And Melek and I was tired. I was bored. I don't dance. So there's nothing for me to do at a wedding.
Sounds
once the
pretty
bride and groom's-
lame. Party killer.
Yeah, I'm a stick in the mud. If you haven't met me, my name is Michael, and I'm a stick in the mud.
Yeah, if you invite him to a party, he won't even show up anyway. But on the odd occasion, he does get really, really drunk and likes to throw random people around random bars.
Yeah, well, I mean, you don't want to throw people you know around random bars, or throw random people around known bars.
Do you remember the time when you threw me around in the bar that was well known that we went to? Or at least I go to?
Oh, so that you go to?
Yeah.
I've been there once. That was the only time.
Yeah, you
no,
might not want to go back in a while.
I don't think they have any issue.
You threw me into 3 random women.
Yeah, but do those random women still go there?
I don't know.
Well, then I guess the bar doesn't have an issue. And I bring people together, and this is what the radio show is for me. It's bringing you to more women so that you can.
Actually, what was it?
offend them.
What was it you called me when we started working together? aggressively social. You went out of your way to ignore me, but I just wouldn't let you. And then I introduced you to all our other colleagues that you could not be bothered meeting.
It's not that they weren't bothered meeting me. We seemed like we had a really satisfying status quo of passing each other silently in the hallway.
But where's the fun in that?
Well, the fun is to see how long you can do that. There are people in my MBA class. There's like 3 or 4 girls in my MBA class. I have had now 9 classes with them. Never spoken to them. They've never spoken to me directly, or I think even indirectly. And after a while, you feel it's awkward because sometimes we're sitting together in the room alone before the class starts, and we don't say anything to each other. We say good morning to people that we know coming in, but if it's one of these other girls, I don't say anything to them, and they don't say anything to me. Or I mean, it becomes a challenge, because one day someone will break by accident and say good morning.
That would drive me batshit crazy.
I know, but for me, it's a challenge. It's just, it's avoiding just really uninteresting conversations.
But life is made out of uninteresting conversations. You just got to pick up the snippets of gold that people say every once in a while, and it's all worth it.
I mean, that's if you're desperate. I mean, if you're desperate for conversation, yeah. I mean, you go digging through people's conversational garbage and hoping you find something out of it. But I mean, I have really stimulating internal monologues. I mean, I wish I could write them down, but they'd be lost without the silence.
Well, I did try writing. Then I realized that my writing's not that good, so I just gave up. Instead, I decided to come on the radio with you.
Writing monologues, inner monologues, or what?
Yeah. Well, for a while, I do a lot of artistic things like photography and drawing and painting and all this other thing. And
you do a lot of artistic things like what? What was that word?
Drawing.
What was the
painting,
other word? What was the other one?
Photography.
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 Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, moving on. And I have the problem where sometimes I can't get all my ideas out of my head, or I don't have the specific tools or people or models, and I'm like, okay, what to do? Okay, let's all write this down. But no, didn't really work. Still trapped in my head, still driving me crazy.
Oh, you're just a tortured genius, huh?
Yeah.
Well, at least you're some kind of genius.
Exactly.
So I think I'm just going to give up talking about the wedding because we've not gotten it. I think I've more or less said it. Oh, well, I was going to tell you that, yeah. So anyway, they leave at 11:30. Melik and I leave at 11:40. And apparently,
late night partying.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not for this stuff. But apparently the bridesmaids, all 11 of them, and the groomsmen just... They drank and partied until 5 or 6 in the morning. They got kicked out of the castle.
That's pretty standard. Well, not getting kicked out of the castle, but getting kicked out of the venue. I have not been at a wedding where I have not been kicked out of at the end of the night because it's time to close, not before.
I mean, so are you always the last one at a party?
No, not generally. I'm just with people who are the last ones at the party.
Did you come with them, or are you like tagging along with them?
I came with them. Thank you very much.
Okay. All right. Oh, anyway.
Thank you.
Getting kicked out of a castle. Normally they don't want people coming into the castle. So, castles are not designed to be so easy to expel people.
Well, I think that'd be pretty cool. Hey, I got kicked out of a castle last weekend. What did you do?
I'm sure that's what they're thinking. That's how they remember what little they remember of the after party.
Okay. Well, anyways, continue with the wedding because apparently we're killing Sasha with our comments. She's dying over there.
Michael, I'm dying with laughter.
Ha 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 ha.
Yeah. I mean, and that's our listener. That's what we do. That's what we do here on the Culture Clash. We kill with laughter.
Yes.
I don't know who else is dying of laughter. No one else is. Well, I don't know. I'm not. Andrew's heavily involved with his iPhone work. But when I'm on
Hold
the
up.
radio,
It's not an iPhone. It's a Samsung.
It's mic to mic. This is mic to mic time.
Okay.
I wanted to have a segment called mic to mic where I get a little sexy, a little close to the mic.
Oy.
Like that picture. If you haven't seen the picture, the sexy picture of mic to mic time. That's on the Facebook page. Go ahead if you haven't already liked it.
Too
I'm
much
just gonna
mic
keep,
to
I'm just gonna
mic
keep
time.
plugging it until we kill it.
Too much mic to mic time. Anyways, I think it's time for a song. What do you say?
I don't
Anything
know.
lined
I
up?
mean, once you kind of put it out there, I'd have to be a dick to say no. Fuck you. I don't want to play a song.
But that's generally how you are anyway, so.
I'm not as vulgar in person as I am with other people.
Sasha, what do you think? Hold
No,
up.
don't-
Here's a
don't
reply.
engage, don't engage the listener. Sasha should be working. She should be doing something more meaningful. I mean, she should still be listening so we get the plays.
She said, Mike threw you around. Song, 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 song. Ha, ha, ha,
Okay.
ha.
All right, so that's one vote for a song. If you're listening and you don't want to hear a song, you've got a few seconds to weigh in.
Gurkham. Good, stop, okay, super. Song, song, song.
Oh,
That's
Jesus.
2 votes.
See, I wanted some more interactivity. But when I said interactivity, I wanted the silent type of interactivity.
Uh-huh.
But all right, so we'll play a song. So, like last time, when I turn to the computer to ready a song, it's difficult for me to continue talking in the microphone because the microphone doesn't come with me. Mic to mic time takes a break. So I need you to continue talking. Otherwise, we kill everybody, not with laughter, but with dead air.
Okay, but this is kind of strange because usually you cannot stop talking.
I bet. I may still talk, but no one can hear me because, as I
Okay.
said, there's a break in the mic to mic time. So I know that you tried to cue me. You tried to shoo me over there just now. But I want to be sure you have something to talk about before I turn away.
I always have something to talk about.
No, you don't, and that's why.
No,
I want to
I
be sure. What are
don't.
you going to talk about? Let's. Do you want to introduce what we're going to talk about after the song?
The
I
laptop
wanted to-
just
well,
shut
I
off,
wanted
so
to
I
play.
cannot.
You don't have the schedule internalized.
No, not really.
Well, we just wrote it like 20 minutes ago.
But I wasn't paying attention.
So let me introduce this song.
Woo! Shiny distraction. Anyways.
Let me introduce this song. Every song that we play here on the Culture Clash is chosen for a very meaningful. It's chosen meaningfully, and the next one is no exception. It's Sublime. Have you ever listened to Sublime?
I used to, but I can't really remember them.
Yeah, a friend of mine, one of my dearest friends. Her name is Cindy. She used to tell me when I told her I like Sublime because she's a bit of a music snob, but she's a snob who maybe has earned the right to be a music snob. She said Sublime is what 13-year-old girls listen to, and that's kind of the definition of Sublime.
Okay.
Um,
So she basically called you a 13-year-old girl.
Yeah.
And you just called yourself that on air.
No, I said that's what she called me. I like
Ah.
Sublime, and I don't really care.
Is Sublime sublime?
For people who don't know the history of Istanbul, what's the relationship between Sublime and Istanbul?
One of their songs had mentioned Istanbul, the Golden Horn in it. I can't really remember. I heard it like
You're
2
absolutely
times.
fucking making that up. There's no way Sublime had that in any. I haven't listened to all their songs. They had quite a bit, but that's not. It's because Istanbul was the Sublime port. That's what it was called as a diplomatic post for several centuries.
But yes, I was just kind of pulling that out of my ass there. Thank you, Mike, for calling me on that.
Someone's got to. And again, you had a pause. You're talking to me when you saw me turned around. If I hadn't rushed back, the listeners would have been hung out to dry. Anyway, we're going to play a song. And again, you want to talk a little bit more so that I can set this up?
Okay, but you're not leaving me any hoops. Anyways,
all
while
right.
Mike's getting busy with the computer, I will keep you guys entertained for a little while. Sasha apparently says, "Oh my God!" Now here's Sublime.
The address is 1934 East Anaheim. All the windows are busted out, and it's like a free-for-all in here. And the owner should maybe come down here and see if he can secure his business if he wants to.
And we're back.
That's a good song. You didn't hear the song because you don't have any headphones on.
Yeah. See, this is why I talk about douchebaggery. There's only one set of headphones and Mike gets it.
I've earned it. But next, one day I'll bring the splitter so that we both can
Okay, yeah.
But I don't think you like this music. I don't know what music you listen to.
I listen to everything. I'm open-minded.
Everybody says they listen to everything, and it's a lie. It's always a lie.
No, I mean, I generally listen to whatever music people around me are listening to.
So that means you're really not listening. You're just passively accepting the noise around you.
In short, yes.
Yeah, well, that's a little different. I think to listen to music is a kind of it's an active process. It's an aggressive process. You should be as aggressive about music as you are about socializing.
What do you want from a half-deaf guy? Really? It's sound. Okay, yeah, it's enjoyable song, but I'm not going to go out of my way to get even deafer. I'm just like, okay, I enjoy this. I'll listen to this. I can bite.
I'll listen. What do you mean you're going to bite? What does that mean?
I can bite. Ooh, it's good. I'll listen to more of it.
So you do. Tell me what you listen to.
Well, lately I've been listening to more old indie, more grunge, more punk rock. Stuff I used to listen to years and years ago.
For example?
For example, I don't know, Bullets for My Valentine, Rise Against. Then I listened to things like Nightwish,
What?
You put me on the spot and my mind went blank.
Well, that's all right. So anyway, Andrew is the only person who can't enjoy the music that I choose and I play.
Actually,
I don't think you'd enjoy it anyway. You never listen. Well, you listened to Sublime a little bit. Did you know this song? This was April 26, 1992.
I can't remember names.
It was the song about the LA riots.
Okay, Jay, with me, I'm the kind of guy who listens to something and go, ooh, that's a very good song. What was its name? Who's it by? I don't know. Okay, let's type in as much lyrics as I can remember into Google and see what I get.
Okay. So, do you know this song? I just told it's the LA riot song.
I cannot recall it.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
If you do, listeners, if you're like Andrew and you're not familiar with that song, but you're the kind of person who, when you hear a song and you go, ooh, I like that song, I don't know who it is, who's singing it, or what the name of the song is. If you type April 26, 1992, Sublime, in Google, you'll play that song.
Can't hear you.
They can't hear me. Who can't hear me?
Sasha can't hear you.
Well, maybe she's deaf.
No, I don't think so because she's not replying.
What do you mean she's not replying?
She is not saying that anything, and you can't exactly call Sasha deaf without her replying.
Did she hear me call her deaf?
Yeah, she can hear you now.
Okay.
Couldn't before.
Oh, I think, yeah.
Yeah.
I think she was momentarily deaf.
Yeah, well, maybe.
I don't know about anybody else. Yeah, I mean, she's a musician. That's right. These young people with these loud rock music. Anyway, so yeah, that was Sublime. That's not really what I wanted to talk about coming out of the song, but it
hold up. This is where he talks about his great love for Justin Bieber. Are you a believer?
You're from Canada, dude. You guys have the same blood.
Dude, you lost him when you lost the Winter Olympics hockey game. You took him. He's yours now. We disowned him. You lost in hockey, you keep Bieber. No return on damaged goods.
I don't...
Shut it.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Okay. All right, I'll give you... well, I won't give you anything for that. We'll just leave it at what it was. I'm sure the listeners enjoyed that. Anyway, I wanted to talk about long trips because I had this experience going to the United States. I was awake for almost 42 hours.
Okay.
Which is as mind-numbing as it sounds. But the time flies. After 24 hours, the time really flies. You start losing...
consciousness?
Well, no, you start losing awareness.
Okay.
So we had to... I wake up at 6 because Melek goes to work then. So, of course, Melek wakes up at 6 too.
Mm-hmm.
I have to add that. Otherwise, it sounds like I'm doing a lot more work. And she's doing a lot more than I am. But, so we woke up at 6 in the morning every day.
Well, of course she's doing a lot more work. You're a lazy student.
Yeah, among other things.
Among other things, yes.
So we both woke up at 6 in the morning. And our flight was at 5 o'clock the next morning. And I don't sleep. When I have an early flight, I'm just too deathly afraid of oversleeping that I gave up trying anymore.
Okay.
So that means I stayed awake that entire day. I had classes. I had 8 hours of classes nonstop.
I remember talking to you on Facebook that night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did I seem tired?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, so you're corroborating my story.
Little less antisocial than normal. So I figured you're tired. You're more sociable when you're tired.
Yeah. I just more delirious.
Exactly.
So that was 24 hours. And then we took this flight to Paris, and then we had a 7-hour layover in Paris. And I don't sleep in airports either because I'm afraid of oversleeping and missing my next flight. So I stayed awake for that. Melek got to get a little sleep the night before the flight, and she got a little sleep in Paris too. They have these really nice chairs.
Okay.
That's the best thing about that airport, because the international terminal, just the terminal going to the U.S. is awful. You can't get a glass of wine in an airport in Paris.
Well, one thing I don't like is he decided to ban the smoking booths. Now, as a smoker, I loved flying into Germany because they have smoking booths still in there. Any other airport, it's like, okay, I got like a 4-hour delay. I've been on a plane for 6 hours. I got another 6 to go. What am I going to do now because I'm stuck in like international area?
Where have they banned the smoking rooms?
A lot of the airports have gotten rid of the smoking rooms altogether. For example, Canada doesn't have it. England doesn't have it. Southeast Asia never had it.
But you can smoke
South America
right?
did not have it. No, you can't. Singapore for sure did not. Then I didn't see one in Venezuela or Peru, but there is always the reliable one in Germany, Berlin.
Well, Paris has it too. The French smoke a fair bit. I mean, in Europe, smoking is still, I think, pretty chic. I mean, and I'm authority on.
Well, in Europe,
chic.
they also sell beer in McDonald's, so what can you do?
What? Yeah, I don't know what I can do with that. So anyway, we were there for a long time. And then we took the flight to the U.S., and the U.S. flight is, a fair 9 hours in that direction. And then we still had to get from Atlanta down to Orlando. So by the time I landed, it was like 42 hours. And that, I think, is my new record for time in transit. What's the longest in terms of time or distance? What's the longest trip you've taken?
Okay. What was yours? 48 hours?
Like 42, I think. 48
Okay.
hours was the movie.
No, mine was, I think, little over 24 hours, maybe close to 30. That was from Peru to Venezuela, Venezuela to Germany, Germany to Istanbul, and then Istanbul to Ankara. Now, that was my first time experimenting with sleeping pills. I learned that sleeping pills and me do not work. They do not match. It just makes me very dopey, where I'm wide awake, unable to respond, and drooling all over the place, which is not a sexy sight at all.
Well, I mean, so as I understand it, you're still regularly taking sleeping pills.
No, I've given up all hope of that.
So what's with the? Oh,
Okay,
I should,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Uh-huh.
Shouldn't have brought that up on.
Drink.
Yeah. It's a 42 is my new record. I had a 35 before. I took
Okay.
35 hours. I went to Georgia. I grew up in the state of Georgia, and like any young boy living in the state of Georgia, when you find out that there's a country named after your state, you really want to go there.
Named after your state.
Well, of course. How else could it be? I mean, Georgia's almost 300 years old as a state.
Yeah.
So I went to when I was in Turkey. For those who don't know, Georgia and Turkey are rather close to one another, and I took an opportunity to visit a friend of mine, my friend Anna from Germany, who I've actually seen now in 4 countries, and if she comes for the wedding, she'll have the record for the most countries in which I have met the same person. She'll have the record of 5.
Okay.
She shares it now with 2 other people at 4.
Well,
I don't know if I should count Melek. If I count Melek, that number's getting... Obviously, she and I are going to start going everywhere. So.
yeah, that she doesn't count. She's like...
Yeah, it's maybe just
You
unfair.
plus
yeah,
1.
Yeah. Well, actually, speaking of which, we're going to go... In February, we still have to book the tickets. We forgot to do it last night. We're thinking of going to the Venice Film Festival next February.
Oh, very nice.
I haven't been to Venice in a long time.
Okay.
9 years, and I loved it the last time I was there.
I don't think I've ever been to Venice yet. Sounds very elite.
Is that a little working man's resentment?
No, it's single man's resentment.
Is that if you have a girlfriend, you're elite? Is that how you define the term?
No, I mean the film festival. Okay, film festivals, elite, theater, tamam, opera, flan. But if Venice is anything like Rome, going there by yourself is pretty shitty because they're like, "Ooh, single man, let's set you at the bar with the other sad men." Or, "Ooh, single man, let's set you at the table with 4 other random men to make space for the couples to eat."
See, I would think if you were a single man traveling in Italy, it's such a tourist mecca. which is funny because there's a lot of tourists who go to Mecca. But I think you'd be able to easily hook up with all kinds of people. I mean, because you're staying in the people in your hostels and it's like Istanbul. You can always meet up with people very quickly. When you're a tourist, because you're staying in the same places, you're going to the same places.
Okay, if you're antisocial and outgoing like you, maybe. But I am very shy. I keep to myself.
Where did the aggressive socialization go?
Because they're not in this. Well, the aggressive socialization is if I see you in the same spot that I work, I feel I have a reason to talk to you.
No, you feel you have them cornered. They're vulnerable. There's no escape.
And they cannot run away.
That would be
Yeah.
What cornered
Well,
means.
no. For example, I go to a party with a friend. Unless the friend gives an introduction to other people,
Yeah.
I feel uncomfortable starting a conversation or trying to talk with them. For example, I cannot talk to a random person on the street. There's no reason for it. Why am I talking to them?
But a random person on your social media sites, as you term them, that's completely different.
Yeah, that's completely different because
Because you've read each other's profiles, so essentially you're not really strangers. You know each other.
No,
a
I
little
mean
bit. You
you
made a
don't
connection.
have the face-to-face awkward. Who is this? You feel
Yeah.
more comfortable behind a screen, being like, "Hey, how's it going?"
Yeah, I mean, well, you made that TCP/IP connection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And generally,
that's a strong connection
okay.
and robust and reliable.
But generally, they say hi, and I'm like, "Hey, how's it going?" But a lot of the social media sites that I use needs interaction on both sides. For example, a like in a chat window pops up.
Really?
Yes.
I mean, so there needs to be interaction on both sides
In order
In-
for the
in order
messaging-
for a connection to be made. Wow, that's this new kind of socializing. How are you handling that?
I actually quite enjoy it. It's nice.
Really, so it's a departure for you.
Huh?
It's not just you bombarding,
No.
a silent profile, a blank wall, a monitor.
Actually, no. For example, one would think, okay, getting turned down in real life really sucks, but getting turned down by about 200 women in 10 seconds, that sucks even more. So this kind of social media site is a lot better. It's more interactive on both parties. Also, it stops people from creeping and being like, hey, merhaba, nasılsın, iyi misin?
So how do you start?
It depends. It depends what site I'm using.
How many people you mentioned to me off air? I don't think this was on air. You had said that you say hi to quite a few people and you wait to see who responds.
Not
Right.
generally, no. I
Oh, so
see.
they talk to you.
Well,
first.
no.
You told me you talked to them first.
For example, it's 30-70. So 30% come to me, 70% come to me, or I go to them. But the thing is, I'm extremely picky and choosy. I read the profile. I'm like, hey, that's interesting. We could talk about something. Or, she looks good. Maybe.
That is very picky and choosy. Yeah.
Yes.
It's a wonder you're still single.
I have a very high standard.
So we've gotten a little bit off track. This is what we wanted to say for later. This kind of gold, we have to let people sit around and wait in anticipation for.
Okay.
So anyway, I was going to Georgia, back to the long trip, and I was living in Konya then, so I had to take an 18-hour bus. Have you taken a bus of that? I mean,
Yeah.
18 hours on a bus.
I think the longest I did was 16 hours in Turkey.
Yeah, it's
ridiculous.
incredible. It's incredible because it's not as torturous as it sounds.
Well, it depends because when I did this 16-hour, the back of my seat would not recline. Then halfway through, we went on a bump and the seat actually broke. So I could not lean back during the duration of the remainder of the journey at all.
But you were saying it wasn't reclining anyway, so you weren't leaning back before that.
Yeah, but the thing is, it couldn't recline. Then it broke. So if I lean back, I end up on the guy behind me's knees.
So it was reclining after it broke.
Yes, but too much so.
I mean, so it seems problem solved. I mean, your problem solved. Obviously, that's just been transitioned to another person's problem.
Yes, but talk about no, just no.
You don't. Are you uncomfortable putting your head in another man's lap?
Very poor concept of personal hygiene.
Well, I'm sure he'll overlook that. I mean, he knows you're a foreigner. You're a dirty foreigner, so.
No, I mean when this guy was sleeping, the stewardess on the bus, they are stewardess, right?
Attendance.
Attendant hostess. She went by with perfume and would perfume his feet every hour or so.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, well, that's service. Like I said, the buses in Turkey are nice. If you don't live in Turkey, these buses are really, Andrew's unfortunate experience aside, are really quite comfortable. I mean,
Well-
they're better than flying in many cases.
Actually, I spent a lot of time on the buses. I have been extremely unlucky in this regard.
What?
But
You're not finding love on the buses?
No, lately they've started the option where you can get the single seat buses, which is excellent, and it is much better than flying.
They have single.
Single seat.
I mean, you have to be
No,
for single men. What do you mean?
no. What I mean is instead, generally they have the double up, where you have two people sitting beside each other on both sides,
Yeah.
and you don't know each other, or you have the row of two people and the row of singles. And I prefer to invest in a single seat because it's much better. You don't have to worry about unwanted man attention or bad hygiene or anything like that.
Do you make friends when you're on these buses? I mean, I don't talk. I met a couple guys on the buses to Bulgaria and Macedonia and these things.
In Turkey, generally, you don't talk on the bus at all. Romania, I did make some friends when talking with another tourist couple behind me. And then in South America, I was talking with a old couple in Machu Picchu. Basically, I get on a bus.
The bus to Machu Picchu?
No, the bus from Machu Picchu.
Oh, does it pick up right at the gates?
Yeah, no, there's a parking lot that brings you down to a small little village, and then you go either by hiking or train back. So what happened was I got on this bus, and then this old couple sits in front of me, and we're sitting there, we're kind of talking. The next thing you know, a girls' university group gets on the bus. And I'm thinking, my chances are looking pretty good. They had one guy in the group and he chose to sit beside me. The old couple turns around and says, "Tough chances, mate."
The reason I asked if you normally talk to people is because we earlier had established that when you know that people can't get away from you, you feel a swell of confidence in pursuing socializing with them. And so the person sitting
For
next to you on
example,
the bus...
I feel extremely uncomfortable sitting beside someone I don't know for such an extended period of time because,
Well, you could change that in 1 second by saying, "Hi, my name is Andrew."
No, you can't, because the thing is, I have no reason to talk to them. They have no reason to talk to me. I don't want to disturb them. There's absolutely no reason whatsoever to be like, "Hey, how's it going?"
But then why do you not treat your coworkers like that?
Because my coworkers are special.
Okay. Well, there you go. That's the answer.
Yeah.
Do you want to play another song?
Yeah, sure, why not? What do you got lined up for us
Well,
now?
I got a song from Alanis Morissette. One of my favorite songs from Alanis Morissette. You know where she's from?
Canada?
She's from Canada. Yeah.
Yes.
She's perhaps the greatest Canadian since Rick Moranis.
Okay.
I mean, he's still around, so I guess he's still, he holds on to that
I have
title.
no clue who he is.
Rick Moranis.
Nope, not a clue.
John Candy.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Well,
I
he's
got
not
it
John
now.
Candy.
Okay.
I mean, I just threw out another name. He's dead. He would have been the best.
He
the
had a
greatest
heart
Canadian
attack. Yeah,
before
he
that,
was very good.
Yeah. Did
Very
you watch
funny
any of his
comedian.
movies?
Oh, I loved it. Have you ever watched Plane, Trains, and Automobiles?
No, to be honest, I loved John Candy as a kid, but then I realized, looking back, I actually never watched any of his movies. I just
Okay.
liked his cameos in other movies, like Home Alone and these things.
But no, he was a very good actor, and it's sad to see him go when he went.
How
years
old
ago.
were you? I mean,
Shit.
I was young.
Yeah, no, that was about
I mean, that was like 1990. Something.
exactly
Early
90s, early 90s. My dad was really sad to see him die as well.
I mean, did
He
your
loved
dad
him.
see him die?
No, my dad.
Did your dad kill John Candy?
Uh-huh. Anyways, are you
I
playing
mean, you
the
can
song
say it.
yet?
We're in Turkey. There's no
Get on
there's
the
no
song.
jurisdiction. There's no jurisdiction. Anyway, this is a song. This is one of my favorite songs from Alanis Morissette. It's gonna set up a talk about love and dating.
Oh God, what song did you pick?
Well, we'll just let everyone enjoy.
Yeah, okay.
And we're back. And we're ready we're ready to get a little sensual. Andrew, tell us about your dating experiences recently. You met some people, some ladies. Were they ladies or were they girls?
Ladies, of course.
Yeah,
Ladies.
tell
Yes.
us,
Well,
share.
I met this one delightful young lady, and we had a very stimulating conversation. And as Mike leans in and goes, "Oh, really? Tell me more." Shay, Yani. Anyways, I screwed it
Well,
up.
yeah, I don't know what that. I didn't say
Hold
that.
up.
I never said that.
Interesting. Tell me, does she have a car? Grease lightning. Never mind. I screwed it up, so
Okay, go ahead.
I'll
Continue,
just run with
continue.
it. We're
Yeah.
on live. It doesn't
Yeah. All right,
matter.
well, no, yeah, mistakes. That's just part of the beauty of live radio.
Anyways.
Listeners, I hope you're enjoying every single mistake because it's crafted for you.
Yes.
All right.
Anyways, my point is, yes, we are doing a conversation about dating in Istanbul, but that said, the listeners, they don't exactly want to hear about the good dates. Like, yeah, sure, that's great for me. That's great for my buddies. But
no, I mean, tell us about the good dates.
They
I mean,
want to hear, like, have a little zest. They want to hear about things going horribly wrong. They want maybe some more colorful vocabulary to emphasize certain features since they could not see themselves.
I think your regular vocabulary is zesty and tangy enough. Don't feel the need to exaggerate. Just shoot from the hip like you do your photos.
But but the thing is, this zesty vocabulary you're talking about is strictly
just get to the story. Just get to the story.
strictly
All right.
for the air.
All right. Well, no, yes. All right. Ladies, in person, he's actually a very sensitive and respectful man.
Yes, I am.
But tell us about the ladies that you are going to tell us about.
Okay. Anyways, no. The point is, met a nice girl. Things went well. She left to America, and I'm back at square one. Now, moving on.
Well, no, there was another girl at the exact same time, like the day after, or before she left, because there were two girls, and I got confused when Andrew told me the story before, because he wasn't giving them names. They don't have names, I think, but it was confusing to me who he's talking about, because I'm getting conflicting ages, conflicting whereabouts and locations, and then I found out there were two different women that he was doing like a Three's Company thing where he had a date with this one girl, but then would immediately transition to the date with the other, and apparently quite successfully. Neither one knew. I mean, everyone was happy, like Three's Company.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So share what happened to the second girl.
Okay. Well, no, I
I'm
mean,
sorry, second lady. I apologize.
when you meet someone, it's like, okay, let's have a random meeting. That's fine. Then you can meet someone the next day without any
Is that how you
moral
interest them?
obligation.
Is that how you interest them when you do your chats on your social media sites? You say, "Hey, let's have a random meeting."
Well, no, it's like, hey, let's go for coffee. Okay, it's coffee. There's no kind of signed contract, moral obligation saying you cannot meet someone the next day.
You're right.
It's a basic, okay, let's meet.
I mean,
it was fun. Maybe we can meet again, but that doesn't mean you can't meet someone else
you're
before
right.
we
I'm
meet
not
again.
passing a moral judgment. I'm just clarifying that there
Uh-huh.
was a second person.
Okay.
That you told me for 2 hours about this girl who'd gone to America.
Okay.
And I let you sum it up in 3 sentences. I don't even know if it was 3 sentences. I seldom count. But what about the second?
Ha. Yes, that brings me into a question about ethics. Okay, so I met up with this one girl and her
avoiding
friend.
my question.
Hmm?
That's an ethical.
No.
quandary as well.
This is the second girl that you're talking about.
Okay.
So I met up with this one girl, and she decided to bring her friend. Now, generally, that's okay. My only problem with this friend is
Generally, that's okay. You tolerate these.
no,
affronts.
I don't mind. But the thing is that annoyed me was this is the same friend that I rejected the morning off the social media site. I'm like, nope, not interested. And that night, there she was.
And did you guys discuss? I mean, you're absolutely sure this was someone that you did not meet on your social media sites.
No. I what happened was I accepted one person, rejected another. The person that I accepted is apparently best friends with the one I rejected, and they always meet people together in order to practice English. Now, the thing is, originally why I rejected the other one was her profile was very weird, and there was obviously going to be some personality conflicts. Now, That said, when I met with the girl that I accepted, we were talking, having a conversation. The friend was not paying attention, listening to other people, talking with other people. That's fine. Then she decided, oh, my friends are leaving. I'm going to jump in your conversation and start breaking any kind of fluid form of conversation that was going on.
What did you expect her to do? Did you expect her to sit there silently?
Well, no. If she was interested in the conversation, she could have been in listening when we were actually speaking. She spent half the time playing on her cell phone. For example, we're sitting there for 45 minutes. I'm talking to her friend. She's kind of listening, playing on her cell phone. Then 45 minutes, she goes, so, where are you from? What do you like? What's your favorite food? I mean, just random questions that either were covered before or have nothing to do with the current conversation in play.
And you couldn't bring her up to speed quickly?
I tried to, but she didn't seem to be able to, well, okay. Her main goal is for language practice. Her English level was obviously lower, so it was more difficult to hold a fuller conversation like her friend.
Her main goal was English conversation. What was your main goal?
To meet new people and expand my social network.
Well, I guess that was successfully done.
Yes.
I mean, you got 2 for the price of 1.
But the thing is, you know me. I don't feel comfortable around random people, so...
But you felt comfortable with the other one, the other woman.
Yes, one person, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5. I kind of want to know what I'm walking into. And
But I guess you'd already read her profile.
But the thing is, it is not ethical to bring someone that was already rejected to the original meeting.
Wait, so you're thinking that the girl that you were talking to and making this connection, she violated some ethical code by bringing a friend that you had already rejected online?
Yes. Yes, I am.
Did you tell her this?
I
mean, with most ethical...
Well, no,
with
we
most
were having a
ethical
conversation.
issues.
Then later on Facebook, or not Facebook, WhatsApp, I was talking and said, hey, you know, this is it was kind of awkward because I remember seeing your friend online the other day, and I said no.
You told her this?
Yes, I told her that.
Why?
She's like, oh, you seen her? Did you accept her as well? And I'm like, no.
I didn't. And what was her response?
Oh, okay.
I don't know, like, was that something you felt the need to confront her with?
No, but...
Were you expecting her to apologize and make it up with you?
No.
Have you seen her again? Have you seen either one of them again?
There was a coffee. So we went out
who
for
had
coffee.
it? Did you have it, or all of you shared it?
No, me and the one girl, her friend, did not partake in this coffee.
Ah, okay. So you made it clear that she was to be left at home. She wasn't.
That there were some personality conflicts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
Anyways, it doesn't matter. Occasionally we may meet up for coffee. Apparently, she's not single anyways, and just wants foreigners for English practice, which is very common.
Did she mislead you with that?
Yes, that was not stated till after the meeting.
Well, do you honestly think she's just kind of using this sense of single Turkish woman online as bait to get horny foreign men to meet her, to talk to her? Do you think that was intentional on her part?
Well, I don't agree with that description you just used, but no, I mean, for example, I have enough problems with Turkish boyfriends of friends I know. I don't exactly want to piss off some random guy that I don't even know exists.
So, I mean, my understanding of these social media sites, I mean, I always believe that when we say social media site, we're kind of using a euphemism rather than maybe a more apt term for them. My understanding was that these were sites generally for single people.
Yes, they are.
So you're telling me that there are Turkish women on these single persons sites, misrepresenting themselves in order to lure foreign men with the prospect of some romance when they really only want coffee and English conversation.
Well, no, for example, a lot of the messages I've been getting lately is, oh, can you teach me English? Oh, I want to practice English. It's like, okay, but I'm not going to give you lessons for free, or what's going on here?
And what the way you said that was it just prompted the question: what kind of payment are you willing to accept for your services, Andrew?
Well, no. For example, there's got to be something of equal trade. For example, if they want straight up English lessons, they can pay for it, like 50 lira. I don't know, some kind of monetary thing. But if there's some kind of language exchange, or we generally just like hanging out with each other, and practicing different languages is a side benefit, that's fine.
Yeah,
I
but
don't
you
mind
wouldn't.
that.
Obviously, you wouldn't know that when you first meet somebody.
Exactly, but the thing is, for someone to straight up go, hey, can you teach me this language, or I want to learn this language, can I practice with you? It's completely boring. I'm sorry, like, I like my job, but my job does not define me, and I do not want to do my job 24 hours a day unpaid.
I mean, your job of being this international man of mystery,
Exactly.
this foreign Canadian playboy in Istanbul. I get it.
Yeah.
Well,
No, I mean, as a foreign language speaker here, there's a lot of people who are like, ooh, interesting. Okay, I've lost my interest. That's it.
is that the majority of your social interaction?
Yes.
Just in Turkey, or is this a pattern?
Well, I've been in Turkey 7 out of 8 years, so generally in Turkey.
Yeah. Well, I think we actually talked ourselves out of our hour. We
Really?
yeah, it's if that clock is accurate, the culture clash is going to have to cease clashing, because I think there's some people outside waiting to bring you another great show from Radio Boğaziçi.
No idea what it is, though, because
It's quality.
Mike's antisocial. He hasn't even know their names or what programs or what they're studying.
I haven't even what?
You don't know their names. You don't know what they're studying. You don't know anything about their show.
Well, I know where they go to school.
Yeah, well, that's good for you. Besides the one contact he constantly calls for the key or scheduling errors, he has not tried to, expand his social network. He's like, okay, Andrew, you're social. Go talk to people. Make us friends.
Well, I mean, you're my heat-seeking missile. I just point you at someone who seems alive, and I say go, and I let you do the rest. And quite frankly, you're disappointing me, and you're disappointing our listeners, because you don't have anything more to talk about.
No, I have plenty to talk about. We just ran out of time.
Well, we're looking to get some maybe 30-minute shows, some special shows coming up if we can get a microphone. So listeners, look for that on the podcast. This podcast will be up in maybe tomorrow. Hopefully.
Exactly, yeah.
But we got to sign off now. We're going over our time a little bit, but I think everyone's all right with that outside. They're not killing us right now. Now there's a song. I don't know this song, but I like the title. It's on Radio Boğaziçi's playlist. So we're gonna leave you with the Space Monkeys versus Gorillaz.
Oh, very nice. I like that.
I think that's the name of the band.
Okay. The Gorillaz is a band name.
Well, I know, but this is
I like
Space
them.
Monkeys versus Gorillaz. So
Uh-huh.
this could just be a description of what's going to happen in the song. This could be the
Okay.
song title. So anyway, any last words?
Take it easy, Istanbul, and to the rest of our listeners, see you next week, or if we get a podcast up and going, see you then.
Istanbul, stay classy. The rest of the world, do what you do. We're going to leave you with Space Monkeys versus Gorillaz. I think that's what we decided.
Okay.
A friend in need's a friend indeed. My Japanese is better. And when she's pressed, she will undress. And then she's boxing clever.